All right, man. This is the first live I've ever done. I seriously tried to do it earlier. Let me see. Okay, let me record that. But this is the first live I've ever done, and yeah, I tried to do it earlier, but the software that we're working on, um, let's just say it's not that easy to work. But anyway, welcome to the channel. Um, Nubio Comedic Facts. I am Basu Rakim Uja. Yeah, and I just come with the facts. That's literally it. A lot of people talk about ancient Kemet. Um, we have scholars who have been, particularly great scholars who have been on the hunt and who have been on this mode of research for years and years and years. And I'm just one of the ones who are following in their footsteps. Matter of fact, in the words of Grandmaster teacher Baba Ashra, he says that the the key to Kemet is really like a mirror, and all the broken pieces, we all possess, and it's up to us, to take our little piece and refit that piece of the puzzle back together so that we can see ourselves, and that's our culture, and that's the black land, that's Kemet. So I'm not gonna bore you guys with the antics that you probably usually get from everybody else. I'm gonna hop right into the video, okay? So this is a lesson from MenKaRa, all right? And MenKaRa, one of my favorite pharaohs, man, because of his lesson. So, and at first it might seem like, all right, we know MenKaRa, but do you really? Because MenKaRa has a story and a lesson that you might be familiar with. If you don't, then you can learn from it right now, okay? But I'll just start off by saying that he ruled in the Fourth Dynasty, and that was 2510 to 2470 BC. All right, and we know that his father was Khafre and his grandfather was Khufu. Now you might get a different story just depending on who you're talking to, who the Egyptologist is. But I like telling the story like this because it has to do with family relations and familial relationships. And it has to do with generation after generation, something we are all familiar with, all right? So, sorry, that's my pup. Okay, so we know that he was a very pious king, and he reigned a lot differently than Khufu and Khafre did. All right, so Khufu and Khafre had they used oppressive measures to get Kemet back where it needed to be. Okay, because Kemet was fated to suffer affliction for 150 years, and you can call it a curse, you can call it whatever, but I believe that the people of Kemet fell out of Ma'at, out of balance with Ma'at, and this was the sort of punishment for that. It's not really a punishment, it's just what needs to be done to get back in alignment, because sometimes we get knocked off of our path, and realistically it takes a long time for us to get there, so it takes even longer for us to get back. And this was Kemet's getting back. All right. And MenKaRa was supposed to be the one to push that further. All right. Because it was 150 years after Khafre died. All right. But no, it was 106 years after Khafre died, not 150. All right. So MenKaRa was supposed to live out the rest of that. But he didn't. MenKaRa said, I don't like how it was done, and so I'm going to do the exact opposite as my dad and as my grandfather. All right? And so what MenKaRa did was he became the one of the kings that Kemetians really praised. They really praised him because there was, for example, he would even give from his own royal coffers, money to somebody who was in the royal court and still felt like they were wronged. All right, and he would say, I'll go into my own person and I'll take care of your discrepancy. So he was that type of king. All right. So his mother, which is Khafre's wife, was Khentekauwes. This is what they're calling her, Khentekauwes. I don't believe that was her. That was the actual pronunciation of her name. I think it was something closer to Khentekauwes. And the reason why they don't want to admit that is because that's the same name that Nubians use for their queens. But it makes sense here that it's a royal wife. And that's what Khentekauwes means. It's a royal wife, all right? And also his daughter's name was Khentekauwes the second. And that is a disputed fact. Because his daughter died very early. All right, so, but his daughter was named after, all right, Khafre's wife. Okay, so, his, oh, wow. Okay, so, during Khafre and Khufu's reign, the temples were shut down. So you couldn't sacrifice, you couldn't go to the temples for any reason. There was just building that was going on. And that building was like 20 years where they were building the Great Pyramids at Giza. So Khafre's pyramid, the Great Pyramid, and Khufu's pyramid. Okay, so during this reign, it was very harsh. So people, they didn't even like to mention the name of Khufu and Khafre. They were ready to be done with that. And, I agree with them. That's a lot of work, but it needed to be done. And if it wasn't done, what would they, we wouldn't have these great wonders that we have right now, all right? Even still standing today. So MenKaRa was very devout, okay? And he was praised for that. But one thing happened to MenKaRa, and this is where the story kind of gets very deep, where there was an oracle. There was a couple oracles, but there was a prophecy that came from an oracle at Amun. It was the oracle of Amun, and she said to Khafre that, hey, you're gonna have a couple of calamities visit you, and things are happening around you right now that are going to be very bad, and that's whenever he lost his daughter. All right, his daughter died. All right, and this was his most beloved daughter. I mean, he loved her so much, and he was distraught, and because he loved his daughter so much, he built the most unusual coffin for her, or sarcophagus for her. And he made it out of wood, and it was in the shape of a cow that he gilded in gold. And actually, Herodotus was there and saw it. And he says about the sarcophagus, he says that in describing it, he says he therefore caused a cow to be made of wood, and after the interior had been hollowed out, he had the whole surface coated with gold. These are the words of Herodotus, okay? On the ground eyewitness account. And yeah, so he's describing this coffin. And I haven't seen anything like it before. There's one example of a wooden shaped sarcophagus in the Cairo Museum. All right, but that's the only one I've ever seen. And it's not gilded in gold. Now, King Tut has some. Matter of fact, he has his royal bed is made out of it, and there are a few others, but they're standing, and some of them are made with stone. But this particular one, as Herodotus explains, is lying down, and matter of fact, the feet are underneath it. All right, and in that position, it is known the symbol is known as the symbol of the goddess Mehet-Weret, all right, which is the principle of nourishment and maternal care. And he did this because he wanted to ensure that she would be honored and protected in the afterlife. So he had this made for her, and actually, it was her dying wish to see the sun each morning. So she loved to do that. So one thing he would do is he would have the priest bring it out from the temple once a year, and this was also during a festival. It might have been the Hebsed festival, where that sarcophagus was almost paraded around. But it was sad eventually, and people could come up to it. They could, they could burn incense for it. They can leave offerings of food, of incense, or whatever they wanted to do. Okay, so that was how much he loved his daughter, and that's how much he felt the pain of his daughter leaving. So after that, he suffered another calamity, where another oracle. This time the oracle from a city called Buto in the Delta. And these are black oracles too. So I want to hop on that real quick. These oracles are black people. All right. So when you think about the Matrix, the movie The Matrix, and you think about the oracle there, and you think about Bushmen, and you think about witch doctors, and you think about all the things that they made us believe were bad, or spooky, or superstitious, or what they say, taboo. This is how it was back in that time. We have to understand how it was being an ancient Kemet. All right, a lot of the things that they hide from us are the exact things that they use, okay, in building their history. All right, so this is one of those things as well, is that these oracles were actual black women. Matter of fact, Herodotus has in his histories as well. This is the same book. I'm coming from the volume 2 in Herodotus's histories, about chapter. If you're on the audiobook, it's about chapter 79. Okay, if you're looking, I have the link in the description. If you're looking online, if you're looking in the actual book and the transliteration, it is chapter 133, I believe. Okay, so that oracle tells him that he is gonna die. All right, and he actually has 6 years left within his life on Earth. All right, imagine someone saying that to you. All right, and he got angry at this point, and he said to the oracle in reproach, he said, am I not pious? Am I not the most pious king? I'm generous. I give from my own pocket. My dad and my grandfather, they did not, they were mean. They were horrible. They were dictators, and the people did not like them. I did the opposite of them. Why is it me who has to die? And not them. They lived a long life. And the oracle said back to him, sent another message back to him. All right, mind you, Buto is about another 1,000 miles away from where he is in Thebes. All right, so it's pretty far away. So the message probably took a long time. Either that, or they had like messenger falcon or messenger pigeon. I don't know how they did it, but this was a huge thing, getting these messages. And so he was mad, and he said, okay, how is it me who's gonna die? I don't believe that. All right. But what she said now was the most powerful thing, and the oracle stated that it was because you didn't follow the footsteps of your father, and you did not follow the footsteps of your grandfather. And matter of fact, you didn't follow the dictates of your own heart. And it's because of that you have to die. You have to go. All right, because Egypt was fated to suffer affliction for 150 years. That was the prophecy. That was that's what put us in alignment with Ma'at. And you got off of Ma'at. You too are off of Ma'at. All right, you have to get back on your square of Ma'at. And yeah, this is the punishment for that, which is heavy. Can you believe how how heavy that might be? All right. So, but he didn't go into a depression. He did not. I don't know how he didn't, but he did not. And he ended up coming up with a plan. So MenKaRa said, all right, I'm going to turn this 6 years into 12. And I'm going to live by day and by night. What does he mean by that? So literally, he wanted to light his candles at night, and he's gonna live it up. All right, so that's what he did. You know, after that, he was known for a king who would have, I don't want to say parties, but he would have people over. You know, and he was a relaxed king after this, and because he lived by day and he lived by night. He also traveled. All right, so he saw the great wonders of Kemet, which, you know, as you know, the Sphinx, the all the temples, all of the places that he had heard that were favorable, he went and he traveled to them. So even kings in the Fourth Dynasty were looking at the monuments that we look at, and we're saying, "Oh wow, you know, look at the beauty and the grandeur." You know, so he was finally opening up his eyes to, you know, what was actually there, what was being built before him. And I believe that's when he kind of came to his senses during this time. Now, MenKaRa did still pass, all right, but he turned that 6 years into 12 years, all right, and there's a lesson in that. Okay, so yeah, it's a pretty deep story. It's not a super long story, but it is one that is very powerful, and I'll tell you why. So we have a term in West Africa that that they say Sankofa is the word that they use, and it's a symbol. You know, there's a whole plethora of symbols that they have in West Africa that actually are metaphors, or they help relay a story. All right, so that's massive, because that's actually what the hieroglyphs are as well. So it has the same connotation to it. Okay, and in this connotation, it really brings the idea, and I'll go over that with you real quick. And the Sankova is the idea that while, oh, let me bring that back. Let's go here. Here we go. That while innovation and change are crucial, they should be balanced with respect for the lessons of the past to avoid repeating mistakes and facing unforeseen consequences. Okay. All right. So let's check that out again. The idea that while innovation, all right, and change are crucial, they should be balanced with respect for the lessons of the past to avoid repeating mistakes and facing unforeseen consequences. And that's exactly what happened to MenKaRa. He thought he was doing the right thing. And how does that relate to modern times? It, you know, it really underscores the idea that while innovation and change are crucial, the lessons of the past must be avoided. They must be understood and avoided. It's a powerful reminder of the consequences of human actions for those who came before us, and the lessons that can be gleaned from both personal and collective histories. And as recounted by Herodotus, it provides timeless lessons about the importance of heeding wisdom, all right, and guidance from those who came before us. In modern times, this narrative can be interpreted as a reminder to listen to the collective knowledge and experiences of our predecessors, whether they're family, mentors, or historical figures. So MenKaRa attempts to extend his life by living both day and by night, which serves as a metaphor for our tendency to defy, all right, established wisdom in pursuit of our desires, often at our peril. All right. So today, this could relate to the importance of considering expert advice. How many times has that happened to you? Where there's expert advice and you don't heed the knowledge. This can happen in a family where the father is trying to tell the son, hey, you need to watch out for this. This is how you need to do it. And the son is saying, hey, that doesn't really vibe with me, and look at where that leads you. All right. So that happens each and every day. All right. From mother to daughter, it happens. The mother tries to tell the daughter all the time, hey, this is how you need to be. And the daughter probably looks at it as your ideas are outdated and they don't really work. We need to be innovative in this time, and I have to move like this, okay, to survive. Whilst that might be true, it does not make the past irrelevant. It does not. All right. Another few ways we can see that and understand that is societal issues like climate change, public health, or technological advancements. All right. Many times farmers talk about this is how you till the land. This is how it's done. But generation after generation, people keep doing it differently. Why? To make money. Why? Because life is speeding up. And people who are older are telling you all the time to slow down, to slow down, to slow down. And this is why. Now, the real kicker here is, will you listen? Will you listen to the voice of reason? Will you listen to Ma'at? Will you actually do the right thing? Or will you slam the door? Will you shut the door? And will you go the opposite way? Now, I know for a fact that I'm guilty of this, and I did this in my earlier lifetime. But I'm telling you, just like the lotus, you're going to have to turn towards the light. You're going to have to turn and go that way if you want to continue and you want to go straight and you want to go up. All right, so that is the story of MenKaRa. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, this is my first stream. Please do not hammer me in the comments, okay? Please. All right. I'm going to keep doing this more and more. This is also a part of my own spiritual growth and my own spiritual journey because, this has been a huge thing. I'm trying to unlock my chakras here in the throat as well. So that's why I chose this thing in particular to do, because it's actually very difficult for me personally. Before I go, though, there are a few things that I did want to touch on, and I want to bring it up in this slide I got for you real quick. All right. So, first of all, we have here, this is Khufu right here. So this is the grandfather, just to give you a visual. All right. This is Khafre. So this is MenKaRa's dad. Okay. And here we have MenKaRa. I hope you guys can see my mouse right here. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, this is actually MenKaRa. All right. And this is his wife. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. I got my notes right here. Okay, so they have it in a few different areas. And okay, this is what I want to talk about, because when you go to do research on ancient Kemet and you're trying to really figure it out instead of just saying whatever, you'll see that people are confused because it'll say one thing here and then it'll say another thing here. But in that is truth, and this is what I figured out, and this is what I want to share with you guys. Okay, so Khentekauwes is a name that you'll get for these royal wives that we're talking about, which I've already said I don't believe that is the name. I think it's the title, and I think they have it confused with Khentekauwes. All right, which also we already know that word kente comes from West Africa, or traveled to West Africa as well. So these are the reasons why they're changed in such a way to, kind of smear the whole idea of it linking back to any other place in Africa. All right. I believe that is a title and not her name, but you will see it as her name in the wrong way. All right. Stay with me. But their names were actually Kamerenebti 1 and 2. Okay. So Kamerenebti was Khafre's wife and also his wife. They had the same name. All right. So Kamerenebti 1 and Kamerenebti 2. All right. So this is his family. And this is how he decided to be remembered over here. And we all know this famous stela where he's literally hewn out of stone and he's walking out of the stone. There are other monuments now that I can think of. The MLK monument where he's got his arms crossed, and the rest of him is the actual stone that he's coming out of. These are where the ideas come from. All right, they're right here. So I remember being in Egypt, and I asked one of the guides at the time. I kept asking, and I couldn't get an answer from anybody, not a straight one. Who's this? Who is this right here, standing to the left of MenKaRa? And they said, and you can look it up too. They said that it's a figure that represents a nome or an area in Kemet. There were 42 gnomes, and these are like towns. Okay, and they represented, and I've seen other depictions of it, so I kind of went along with that for a little bit. But now doing this research, I don't think that's what that is actually. Looking at it. And there are a few other things that led me to this belief, and I'll share that with you real quick. But if you look now, you understand that his daughter died, and that was a big thing for him, So, and we know how much he loved his daughter, so it was huge that he would be buried with her. One sec. Wow, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, where was I? So, this figure right here is his daughter. That's what I believe. And they will tell you that this figure is Hathor. I don't think that that's Hathor. I don't. I'm going to tell you why. This figure, and if you find this picture right here, they're the same. They're the same pictures. All right? They paid so close attention to detail. All right? And that's massive. They paid close attention to detail. And if it's not her, it could be actually her mother. That's how closely alike that they look to me. And that could be his daughter. And I can see too at the bottom that both of their feet are back. All right, which means what? That they are dead. Okay? He outlived them, both of them, and he did. All right? They will also tell you that I have another link in the description at the bottom where they go through all of the queens in the Fourth Dynasty, and they would in Fifth Dynasty, I believe, but they would say that she died in the Fifth Dynasty, but I don't think that that's true, because we know that MenKaRa's daughter died, and that's another way that I feel like they try to throw you off. But you just gotta stay with the truth, stay truthful, and stay alongside the truth. So these are a few ways that I kind of figured that out for myself, and it's still by hypothesis. If people want to come and say, "Hey, that's not," please let me know, because this is how we figure it out. We can't just go based off of what people have said, even if it's in a book. All right, we got to use our eyes. All right, because there's so much stuff that's been covered up. There's so much stuff that they've lied about. They lost my trust. That's just it. All right, so we're doing this and we're starting from scratch. All right, so if it's not perfect and it's not coming out perfect, that's because I'm actually doing it. All right, and we're gonna make some mistakes. We're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but we're gonna rely on those mistakes, and we're gonna use those mistakes to push us forward. So if I'm wrong about this, the point is we got to do our own research. I think that this symbol is not the symbol of a gnome. It might be the symbol of a gnome as well, but I also think it probably has a few meanings, just like tons of things that we still do today have a lot of different uses and meanings. But I believe this, I know this is Anpu here, all right, with the flag of Ma'at on the top of it, all right. So you have Anpu Ma'at right here, and he's the defender or protector of what? The underworld. Okay, so that's massive. He is the one who balances the scales of what? Ma'at. You see the Ma'at feather right here. All right, so and he judges the souls who have passed on. All right, and their heart must be light as a feather, and I believe hers was. But you see, both of her feet are back. All right, they are back. So that means that she's passed. And his wife, or it could be his mother. If his mother had passed on, all right, he's symbolizing her as Hathor. All right. So this symbol right here, when you see that, anytime you see that, it's like a symbol that this is the mother. He's trying to tell you that this is my sister, or this is my daughter, and this is my mom right here. Okay? He's trying to tell you with the symbols. That's all we have. We have to put those things together. It was so universal and it was so basic, that even we should be able to get it, instead of somebody trying to tell us, what it's not. All right? And you see that her feet are back. Her feet are back. This is a full step right here. Don't get it twisted. On the left side, this is right on the side of the heart. Trample down evil right here, okay? So that's the left side right there. All right, and he's stepping out. Left, 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 right. Yes. All right, this is where these ideas come from. But this is the symbol for the mother. All right, that's also in protection. So this is how and then why he buried his daughter like he did. Okay. The Mehet Weret. All right, so I wanted to talk about that real quick. I also wanted to talk about these pyramids, the 3 pyramids right here. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. And you will hear that her pyramid, or the pyramids that are in the front, which I believe belong to his mom, okay, his wife, and his daughter. All right, they will tell you that these were his wives. They were all his wives. No, they had the same names. All right, that does not mean they were. You know what I mean? That was his wife and his other wife. That's his mom. All right, and that's his wife, same name, and his daughter. All right. So when they look at some of this stuff, they see it and they say, well, it must be a mistake because it's here twice. No, it's not a mistake. This is just how they did. All right, so they're trying to tell you that through the story as well, that this is how things go on. This is how you live by Ma'at. This is how you make things right and good. All right, you have to follow what happened before you. You have to honor it. Okay, and that's why you see some of the names. A lot of the names are the same. A lot of their names are the same. You see Merit so many times. You see Ka so many times. Okay, you see Nefer so many times, and it is that way. All right, because we're always honoring who came before, and we actually are the ancestors. And when you understand that, all right, you move just a lot differently, and this is how it works, and it worked for so long. Okay, so we talk about these pyramids here and who they belong to. We talked about what the symbols actually mean over their heads, and some of the things that they try to say to confuse us. I have another video. If you haven't seen that video, please go check it out. It's about, and I'm not done with it yet. I want to do a part 2 explaining another portion of it, but how they actually built the pyramids. I do believe that each pyramid started out as a mastaba, and the mastaba was the precursor to the actual pyramid. All right, and the only thing you actually do is you build the mastaba, boom, and then you fill the casing stones. It's like super simple. All right, they're trying to make it seem like it's the most technologically advanced thing ever, and that it is too difficult for you to even try to figure out, so don't even try it. All right, but maybe it's not that hard. Maybe it's very simple. Maybe the reason why they come up with all of the pie that you get from the four sides and all of the arithmetic that you can pull out of it is because it was so simple. All right, and they went based off of those organic principles. All right, so this is actually, I won't go into that whole thing because I have a whole video on it. You can go check it out. It's a short, but I'm gonna keep going on that. Okay, so you can see this right here though, that it is a mastaba. All right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 layers on this mastaba, and they said that she was not buried in a pyramid. They don't believe that this was intended to be a pyramid. They think that this was exactly what it was supposed to be. And it's so obvious that the stones fell off. It's so obvious, especially when you're there. So I'm really saying it like this so you understand the level of obfuscation that's actually happening to us on a daily. It's media, and it's all there to put a sort of cloak, over the truth. And when you go, you'll actually see that these pyramids are actually just mastabas that are stacked on top of each other, and the stones get lifted off, taken away, or destroyed or crumbled just because of time. But yes, this actually proves, if you look at it, the process of making a pyramid. The dilapidated one that's right here, and then the one that's kind of put together right here. That's the process. That's how you do it. And if you wanna, you want to be buried underneath. Okay, a mastaba is always put together pretty much the same way. And if you want to have a chamber or a ramp or stairs, or like the Great Pyramid does, you can walk into it. Okay, you just leave that space in the blocks. All right, and when you build this one, just leave the space in the block. When you get up here, leave that same space in that block. All right, and if you want to have a space, a square or a rectangle, whatever, just put the stones around the space. just don't build right there. So they weren't stupid though. They said, hey, it's hollow right here, so it'll be easier for it to break. We need to support the roof. We need a lintel, basically, like you do above any doorway window. You're gonna put a strong lintel there, okay? And that's where they bring in the big stones. But as you can see, these stones are not massive like they try to make it seem. They're not that big. They literally can be and have been carried off. All right, this is why they protect the sites now. But you can see MenKaRa's pyramid is here. You can see the Great Pyramid here, which is what I think they say 3 city blocks or something like that. Yeah, not that big. I can run that in what? 3 minutes, 4 minutes. All right. So this is what it is. I'm not gonna lie. This is colossal. All right. This is colossal. It's right there at colossal. This one not so colossal. It can be done. Okay. So yeah, these are some of the things that I definitely want to bring to our attention by coming into some of these lives. All right. And actually sitting down and being able to talk about it, because a lot of people, you know, they want to argue you down in the comments, and they don't really know what they're talking about. Never been there, don't know, they left from their right thumb. So, yeah, this is, if you want to know, do your research. Just do your research. You have to make time for that. All right, like you do with everything else. Yeah. So, just to reiterate, we can come back. MenKaRa has some major lessons for us. We really do need to, as a people, understand where we are and where is Ma'at, okay, and where we are. All right, because as a people, we might be drifting away from Ma'at, and we may have drifted away a long time ago, okay? And people who are there, people who understand that, okay, and this is where it gets really hard, because people don't like to listen to other people. All right, everybody wants to do their own thing. But people who are already there are trying to tell you. So we have to listen more to people, all right, who are consistently telling the truth, who are what they call MenKaRa, true of word, speech, and deed. All right. So when we can honor and revere, the people in our communities who exhibit this moral strength, we need to adhere to it as well. That is something that we have to access and do. All right. We are suffering because we're in survival so much that we don't even have time for Ma'at, when Ma'at is how we get to the point where we want to be. All right. So that's a massive teaching. That's a massive lesson that's coming out of MenKaRa. That's coming from Khufu, actually. All right. And Khufu actually got his son to do it. Think about that. How powerful that is. How can you do that? How can you actually get people to understand what you're trying to say? How can you articulate yourself that well? What do you need to do? How close to Ma'at do you need to be able to do that? All right. And that went on forever. And they had to do something that was probably very difficult, trying to get people to understand that, this is what we have to do now. We're going to have to work hard. We're going to have to grind. And we're going to have to sit down everything else that we love so much. And we have to sacrifice, and we have to do this hard work that nobody wants to do. Okay? Because we don't ever want to be here again. We have to create these monuments, and we have to do it perfect so that we never have to be here again. And that's a massive, massive teaching. All right? Now comes the knuckleheads. Now, although we mean well, we got just even just getting one thing wrong. Even just going out and getting one thing wrong. And going one step away from Ma'at, 2 steps away from Ma'at. This is what can happen. Calamities and Iriyu, or karma, is what comes after. Okay? That's what comes after. And if we don't do the right thing, these are the results. So we understand what happened to MenKaRa, and him believing that he's doing the right thing. Him believing that, oh, well, my granddad and my dad, they must have been tripping, because I can't even see myself doing that. I have to go in a different direction, and I have to be my own man and go in my own direction. Okay, we all have been there, but this is the time. This is the time now. All right, this prophetic time that they speak about, that oracles speak about. Okay, this is that time where we have to actually turn and listen, because check out what happened to MenKaRa. All right, he went and he gave himself. He was the kindest person you could ever meet. He was the Sadguru of all Sadgurus, and he went forth like that each and every day. All right, probably still praised Ma'at, probably still was in the temple all day long, but sometimes we can be lenient to our deficit, where we don't do the right thing because it's a hard thing to do to somebody else even. All right, and when you have to honor yourself in that way, sometimes we don't. All right, and we can say that for the individual, but we can also say that for people, for a culture. All right, as a group of people, this is what we're doing, because we're doing it on an individual level. All right, so when we find ourselves in that mode, it's hard to get out of, because there's so many people and there's so many opinions. All right, it's so hard to get on one accord. And this is why, because it's hard. It is difficult. So if you get off of communication, if you get off of understanding, if you get off of love, if you get off of simple communication, all right, like we used to be able to sit in one room together as a family and just play games, or sing songs we all knew about each other, and we shared the same memories. Now I don't see that a whole lot. Everybody's individual, everybody's dualistic, and they're all on their phones. All right, so this is similar to the state that Kemet was in back in those times. Okay, so here's MenKaRa thinking he's doing the right thing, and these oracles come to him and say, "Hey, you're not doing the right thing. You're just not, bro. Matter of fact, because you went the wrong way, this is the karma for that. This is the IIfourth for that." All right, remember, he's a king. He's a pharaoh. He's not doing little things like, you and I, on a different scale. It's higher, so the results are different. With great power comes great responsibility. And I would agree that also comes great calamity for your mistakes. All right. So this is a mistake, and his daughter actually died, and he loved his daughter too. He loved his daughter. So things had to be taken away from him for him to understand exactly what was in front of him. So that detachment had to happen. All right. Everything in the story is for a reason. Everything that's said, every word is for a reason. And so, him burying her in the sarcophagus shaped like a golden cow, all right, was beautiful. It's an amazing tribute to your daughter. What a great way to honor your family. That's one thing that the pharaohs did, and that they did a lot, is that they honored their family. Like, that's a massive. Whatever gift you think you give people these days, no, you're not doing it right. All right, this is, we have to take some things from ancient Kemet and from our ancestors, and if we take anything, it's how they treated each other. I mean, if we can just take that alone from this, you don't even have to be from this culture, but if you really understand how they loved each other and how they treated each other, that would change you. All right, if you even emulated that a little bit. All right, but let's keep going. So he goes forth even more, and he tries to be okay with this. All right, so we're still pressing forward, we're still kind of going the wrong way. All right, we haven't owned up to what it exactly is that we need to do. We just we're gonna take it on the chin, and we're just gonna keep going, right? So in life, we do that a lot, and we're so hard-headed, we keep going in the wrong direction. Something might even be telling us, "Oh man, I don't know, you might feel lost, at this point. So I'm trying to imagine how MenKaRa might have felt at this point, but um, a second calamity comes and says, "Hey, you're gonna die." All right. So that can be something as simple as, what you take into your body, what you eat. All right. It's bad for you, but you keep doing it and you keep doing it. It's not good for your people. It's not good for your health. It's not good. Your family is immediately affected by that. You're immediately affected by that. Everything you are able or unable to do is the causes of your health and your diet. All right. But if you keep doing it and you're going to, okay, these are the things. This is you ignoring Ma'at. All right. So at this point, he might have been ignoring Ma'at, and still another calamity came, and you are gonna end up losing your own life. All right. So, whew, imagine how you felt then. Now you have 6 years to live, and now he really wants to live. Now he really wants to live, and he wants to go forth, and he wants to go see everything. Now he wants to go do everything. Now he wants to experience life for how it is. And I believe that's when he changes his life around. All right, so this is the reality of life. This is how life actually hits you. Life will come at you exactly like this, to the point where it's so truthful, it's divine. It's sent to you, even if it's bad for you, even though it's bad for you. So that is the reality that hit MenKaRa at that point. And, he became saddened, as anybody would. He became angry. And he said, why me? Like seriously, I'm the hardest working person. Like I try to outwork everybody. Like I try to do good with everything I do, why me? But one thing I've learned, man, is that just because you're a good person doesn't mean that things are going to be easy for you or better for you. No, that's not how it goes at all. And MenKaRa found this out the hard way. All right, so he was like, all right, I give up. I give up. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to live my life to the fullest. I'm going to come in the morning. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do everything that I need to do. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to try to live the best life that I can live. He went on to build his monument that you see right behind me, his pyramid at Giza. So he turned and he said, okay. So he thought he was doing good, but he hadn't even built a pyramid. He hadn't even built a pyramid at this time. And so he turned back towards his father. He turned back towards the instructions of his grandfather. He probably went into all the papyruses after that. He probably learned how to be a scribe. He probably learned how to be a builder. He probably learned how to be a priest. He probably learned everything that he needed to know. Probably was procrastinating on, but he probably did it at this point. All right. And I'm saying this to give the metaphor for the things that we do in our lives when we know we need to do it, and we're waiting on that thing to actually come in and give that to us. Now, and in some ways, people might think the oracles were harsh, but and if you look at it from this perspective, you would say they really woke him up. All right. They are the ones that are responsible for actually waking him up. And people come and do that to us all the time. Sometimes we take offense to it. And initially you can. And it's easy to do that. But when you really look at it, it cost him to actually live. All right. It cost him to actually live an amazing life. And he didn't have to get that message twice. He didn't have to get that message at all. That was divine that it even came to him. He could have just got hit by a truck one day, like a lot of people do. So it didn't happen like that. So that's a blessing in and of itself. But like I said, he actually turned himself on. So he started coordinating with artists, skilled laborers, artisans, and he worked tirelessly to create a structure that would stand the test of time, and that was his pyramid right there on the Giza Plateau. All right. So these were not merely just it wasn't just a tomb for him. All right, even though it was, the place where he was buried, I believe. I would check on that to make sure of that. But it was a statement to his power and devotion in this way now. Okay, and to the gods and to his family. All right. And it was an atonement. It was like an apology. Okay, this is where it gets good. Okay, it was like an apology, to the gods and the goddesses and or his ancestors. So that's why they were building these monuments, and he had to turn back that way, and he had to actually put that effort in to do that. So he finished out the 150 years basically with his atonement and pushing that, that closeness to Ma'at back where it was supposed to be. So he ended up putting himself back in alignment with Ma'at and getting on the good foot, on with the left foot forward, striding to trample down evil. Okay, because that's exactly what happens when we're not in alignment with Ma'at. Evil can come to us, and evil can really get into us sometimes. Evil can knock us over, and evil can disrupt our peace, and evil can distract us away from our goals and from our cosmic destinies. The things that we're supposed to do with our Ka and with our Ba, the reason why we're here. And evil can come and distract you. Evil can come and disrupt your communities. Evil can come and take your knowledge of Ma'at away. All right? That's the ultimate goal. So you don't even know. You don't even know it anymore. But it's actually getting close to Ma'at that is going to save your soul. All right? And you can lose your soul if you allow evil to come in, or Isfet to come in. So we have to kick Isfet out, and we have to understand that getting close to Ma'at is exactly that. All right? So take this lesson from MenKaRa and hold it with you. If you don't know who MenKaRa is, if you don't know Khufu and Khafre, they should be up in the house. They should be pictures. And if this is too far out for you, do this for your ancestors. Do this for someone who's passed away. It doesn't have to be the gods and goddesses. It does not have to be, because all that was just a metaphor anyways. Okay, we have to understand this. And in that way, anybody can use it. Yeah. Like I said, if you have any questions, please place them in the comment section below. And I did leave links in the descriptions for where this information comes from, especially Herodotus's. I like to go with Herodotus, or actually really just one scholar at a time. And so you can really get the full story, and you can see for yourself. So the link is there. Follow his story. And then when you get done, follow Manetho. And then when you get done, and keep it going. And just like that. Link in the description. Please, if you like this type of content, you want to see more, just turn the notification bell on, subscribe, and give me a like, or like I said, take it easy on me. I don't care. You can say whatever you want to say. That doesn't really bother me. I got one more slide for y'all too before I go. I know I didn't do these in order, but it's okay. I had fun creating them, and just so you can see that image of Mahet Weret right there. And these are actual images of black oracles that were painted in the 1700s, 1800s. And they were called sibyls at this time. So these were actual people that existed. All right. But it came from ancient times. All right. There were Greek oracles, and with the same purpose. It was said that Alexander went to visit the same oracle that spoke to MenKaRa. Amazing. So all these links are in the description. And yeah, Hetep.